It's enough rising. It's enough rising.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Saturday edition at noon of the Green live stream. I'm your host, Edie Arndell, and this is my great friend, Mr. Scott Free, my organizer.
Hey, everybody. How's it going today?
It just keeps getting better.
Oh, yeah. Better is an interesting way to say it.
Or worse. It's better.
Yeah. Right.
It keeps getting
Better.
worse, but the fight back keeps getting better. So,
there you go.
You know.
Okay.
So we're going to try
That'll
to stay positive, even though the news isn't great. But,
Yes.
because what is it? I used to be a fan of Tom Hartman, and not anymore.
Yeah,
He's too. But he say despair is not an option.
Yeah. There you go.
So
Right.
I agree with that part.
Right. Right.
So our first story is breaking news. It's about Mr. Luigi Mangione.
Mm-hmm.
And the key thing about this, he was indicted federally, and I think New York is working on it as well. But the key part about this story is that Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, is seeking the death penalty before he was even indicted. So I guess innocent before proven guilty is not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And she prejudiced the grand jury.
Right.
This is where we are, people.
Yeah. And that sets up for a really interesting fight for these lawyers, because that's the thing about our current administration is they have nothing to do with following law. I mean, you can really see it's building up. That's the battle here is our, court system versus our, insane president. And maybe insane is not the word, but it is, yeah, that's going to be a good battle. That's a good case. They've got a really good case here to throw out this trial, because that is horrific to have the attorney general saying, right.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the exact statute is, but Luigi Mangione's lawyer is bringing it up. And this is a test if our democracy still works. Does our court system still work? Or are we just, going to just decide people are guilty before they even get, due process, fair trial, anything?
And you had said now the trial
is proven that it's him. It's alleged.
Right. And you said that the trial now has been delayed because of this issue, right?
I'm not sure if it's because of that issue, but I know it has been delayed. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And this is from Status Quo, by the way. I keep forgetting to do that, but Status Quo does amazing on the ground reporting. They followed Flint. They're still following Flint, Michigan. And if you don't know about the water crisis there, it's horrific. That's our government not caring about its people. And Here we are again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know.
And that's why the Green Party is here. And I know our next segment is going to be bringing that up,
yeah,
in an excellent fashion, because that's the thing, as we did an intro here about how bad things are, and to keep it positive. The Green Party is why we're in the Green Party, is to keep it positive, because this is a solutions-based, activism.
Mm-hmm. And if y'all notice up in the corner, I don't know if I'm pointing the right way, but it's over here for me. There is a donation link. So this goes to the Illinois Green Party, and we are asking for $26 donations
for 2026 runs for candidates.
Because we need to challenge the system. We need to use all the tools. Protest is great. Activism is great. Mutual aid, community building, but we also have to come for their jobs because they are bad at them. and the difference is that we do not take the money the way they do. We are not allowed to. We have to sign a paper that says we will not take corporate or super PAC money. So if you want somebody that actually listens and works for you, we're here.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So there's my plug. But we can start the next thing. So this section, I like to name my sections.
What's so funny is like, again, even if he was committed to Democrats and just wanted to make them scared and push them, you could just throw out, oh, imagine how pissed they would be. You could just throw out, if the Democratic Party doesn't get it together, people are going to start taking third-party alternatives more seriously. My campaign platform that was so popular that it basically captured 30% of the Democratic electorate is identical to the Green Party's platform. I took a lot of my inspiration from there. So who knows? Maybe people will start paying more attention to the Green Party and invest in building third-party alternatives, like with the Green Party. Like, imagine if he just said that.
He's talking about Bernie.
Just not even an endorsement, just stating the obvious that if you liked Bernie, then that's the party that exists with that same platform.
He won't
and
even
there's alternatives, or build a new party. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why build a new party?
I know that I'm hoping that as the dialogue continues, that part gets taken away. And I think that part will get taken away if we have more success in the Green Party. And I mean, again, we're pushing really hard for 2026. And if we make inroads, they'll stop saying, or start a new party. Because it's just I love Briahna Joy. I love her. But that stuff has got to go away because it's wasting time. They don't have a good reason not to use the Green Party. There is no good reason not to use the Green Party. So use it.
Yeah, I agree. So that was Sabby Sabbs, and
Yes.
we had Briahna Joy Gray from Bad Faith on, and the whole interview is really good.
Check out both of
that was my favorite part because she's talking about the Green Party.
Right.
And, I think a lot of third parties, independent parties, are finding out how hard it is to be on the ballot to actually challenge power. And this is our strength at the Green Party. As hard as they fight us, we still had, as our chair likes to say, over 400 electors in the presidential election.
Right.
You only need, 260 to win.
Yeah.
So there was a viable option. You could have voted for Jill.
Right.
And I know everybody was terrified, but the strategy didn't work. The strategy has failed. Democrats, Wednesday we had on Butch Ware. And he said, Team Blue's not going to save you, because they're not.
Yeah. And I came up with a little idea, post on Twitter this week, was that, you vote for somebody else. You don't vote for Jill Stein. Then you turn around and complain about the Green Party. So it's like, don't complain about something that you did. You voted for somebody else. So what are you complaining about? Oh, they can't win. You didn't vote for them. So that's your action. Stop complaining about what you did.
You know how you win? You vote for them.
Right. Real easy. Real basic.
It's pretty simple. It's basic math. I mean, Jill got over 800,000 votes, despite the fear-mongering, the lawyers from the Democratic Party, the Trump derangement syndrome, the suing her off the ballot. Both Republicans and Democrats did that because some stuff happened in Ohio, North Carolina, Nevada. They're both in on it together, y'all. Despite that, she got almost 1 million votes.
Right. In
this climate when the genocide was happening, because I think Butch said that the Arab and Muslim vote, over half of them voted for Green Party and Jill and Butch.
Right.
Because we're the only party that is for a free Palestine.
Right.
Democrats, if you've noticed at the rallies and in all their rhetoric, they never say free Palestine. Bernie's not allowed to.
Right. In fact, Bernie says Israel has the right to defend itself. No, it doesn't. It's an occupying force. And, for him to say that, how 18 months of genocide, how are you saying they have the right to defend themselves? They've done every disgusting criminal act that you could possibly imagine, shooting directly at children. bombing hospitals, burning people to death in their tents. I mean, there isn't a single thing that you can come up with, some horrific idea that the IDF hasn't, and Israel has not done with our support. And you know, Bernie, he had that bill to stop the funding. A week before that, he signed the bill he approved of us starting up the genocide again. So the man is a con artist. I mean, he's an A-list con artist.
Yeah.
The man knows exactly what he's doing. But I loved it in that crowd. Those people weren't taking it. They were chanting "Free, free Palestine" as he's trying to stop that. Right.
Yeah. So you know, they know what we want. We've been telling them for decades that we want, you know, universal health care. We want free college. We want to end to the wars. We want to cut the military budget and spend it here. We want a free Palestine. We want to stop invading countries and overthrowing their governments. All these things. So it's a con, y'all. Yeah. He's telling you what you want to hear, but he's not asking you to do anything about it. So you got to pay very close attention to that, because you know, when the second shoe drops, it's going to be, we're really going to do it this time. Just vote for us again, because we lost. Like, you lost because you suck. You know. And
the thing is, you know, the Democratic Party now, you're seeing on Twitter and different spaces how people are, you know, doing little polls of who their favorite Democrat is going to be for president. Trust me, the Democratic Party is making sure, no matter who the candidate is, whether they do a primary or not, because these days they haven't done them, they will make sure that that candidate is going to be okay with us slaughtering thousands upon thousands of people of color in other countries. I swear they are going to make sure that that candidate, and I think the people they're throwing up will. I mean, Buttigieg and AOC and Gavin Newsom, they're all going to be fine with slaughtering people of color in other countries, because as long as the mainstream media isn't really covering that, the Democratic followers will just be okay. I mean, right now we are bombing Yemen insanely. That's not making the news. That's not making the news.
I know.
And it is Trump doing it. It was Biden doing the same thing. It didn't make the news. So realize that, folks. It doesn't matter Democrat or Republican as president. When it comes to bombing people of color to help Israel, our media is not going to cover it. They're not.
100%. Yes. And it all comes down to they owe fealty to their donors, not to the American people.
Right.
They bend the knee for the Game of Thrones fans out there. They bend the knee.
Yes.
And they think they are above us, and we have to change that, because that's not how democracy works.
And people stop voting for Republicans and Democrats. Just stop.
Yes.
Because otherwise this will continue. This will all continue.
And I'm not mad at the voters. I get it. You made your choice. You can't do anything about it now, but you can do something about it next time.
Right.
Now that you got to be clear-eyed, you got to be focused and really look at what they're doing.
Yes.
It's a sheepdog operation. It's the oligarchy tour. I'm sorry. I got that from Brie. I thought I invented it, but I watched the Sabbs with Brie, and I'm like, oh, that's where I got it.
Oh no, we'll give you credit. We'll give you credit. Come on.
We'll share.
Yeah.
It's fine. Well, I gave it to Butch, so it's going to be making the rain.
Right. Yes. Yeah, folks, check out our show we did with Butch on YouTube. God. It's really good. He's amazing. Yeah. He's running for governor of California. So everyone go and support him in any way you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, throw ILGP $26 and throw him $11. You know, you can donate from out of state as well.
Yeah.
So this segment is called "It's Our Fault." So Scott, you want to talk about the next part?
Yeah, I think that it was a really interesting TikTok video that went fairly viral. I'm going to preface it by saying I don't like his insult of Americans being fat. That's but other than that, it's really excellent take from a Chinese man, just giving the perspective, because, and you know, I do like that we are having more communication between the people of China and people of America through the apps. And so anyway, yeah, just go ahead and play this, Ariel. And
they rob you blind and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs only ship your job to China, not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, and mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodge tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get stagnated wages, crippling healthcare costs, cheap dopamine, debt, and flagged wave property made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies while they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need a revolution.
And you know, I want to emphasize that in China's history, you know, it was their grandparents, they did a revolution. So they have it in their mindset. So when he says that, he's not, you know, in America, we kind of just say that as a, you know, I mean, I get it.
Slogan.
We're being watched, right? So it's a little dangerous to talk about that stuff. But they did it. That's in their history. That's 1948 for China. So they know it, and they recognize that it has to be done. But I just thought the analysis he did was so perfect in terms of, right, the trajectory of us sending our jobs to China because they did have cheaper labor, the oligarchs of the CEOs of those companies doing that. Okay, it's not China's fault. Now we're trying to say that it's China's. No, it's our CEOs that are to blame for our current situation. And he's so right. They took the money and they built roads. They haven't dropped a bomb in 40 years, folks.
Mm-hmm.
All we've done is drop bombs for 40 years. That's where our money has gone. That's why we have nothing in this country. That's why we have no health care. Our roads are falling apart. That is why he delineates it so perfectly. I hope everyone, we need to follow him. And the credit is in our stream of who that is. So when I see it come across a banner, because I'm forgetting, I will give him credit.
Well, it was originally put up by Revolutionary Blackout Network.
Well,
right?
They were the one that
I mean,
kind of made it go viral. But
the clip where we found it, yeah. So it's there as well. So we like to promote other independent media here. We're big fans of Sabbs show, Briahna Joy Gray's Bad Faith, Gray Zone, RBN. Like, you know, you got to go where the people are doing the good work.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I mean, that video is, everyone should see that video.
And you know, I know we pick on the Dems a lot here, the Democratic Party itself, not the voters. Got to make that clear. But in other states, it's the Republicans. So,
right.
Oh, it's at Neil778027.
Okay.
On TikTok.
Okay, so folks, get over there and
if you want to put that in the comments, Ariel, that'd be great. And that is why we don't have nice things,
right?
Because, you know, if you looked at the Trump inauguration, he was surrounded by billionaires.
Yeah.
So it's not just an oligarchy tour, whatever. It's a kleptocracy. They're in there to break it and see what they can steal. And I'm not kidding. So they're trying to destroy the post office. Next will be banking. Next will be, I mean, you know, what's the other thing? Oh, the VA.
Yes. Oh,
anything that is a public service, they're gonna break it and then point at it and say, hey, it's broken. So now we need to privatize it. And Butch put it really well. We're gonna try to do some clips from that. But he was talking about, like, if it costs this much to do something, right? he's like a third or fourth grader can get this. And then, for the same service. Well, and then you want to privatize it. Well, you have to for profit, right?
Yeah.
So this doesn't make a profit and this does. Okay. So either it's going to cost more or you're going to get less service.
Right.
There is no, it's just basic math, y'all.
Right.
And we've been sold this crazy idea that we're rugged individuals, blah, blah, blah. And, entrepreneurship, whatever, that has its space, but you wouldn't, it's a game that has no rules anymore.
Yeah.
Like the richer you are, the more you make the rules. So there's no guidelines. The laws don't apply if you're rich enough. So that's why we are where we are. We can move on to the next one because we want to try to do this in a reasonable amount of time today.
Yeah, right.
So the next one is from the gray zone. Trump is surrounded by Orthodox cult members. So go ahead, Ariel. Yeah.
But that's all kind of like a tactic with secular Jews like me, or ostensibly secular, to bring us in to their cult. They are the only Jewish sect that proselytizes, but they proselytize among Jews. And now it appears that they're proselytizing or currying influence and favors within powerful sectors of the international right wing. The Trump administration has a very special relationship with the Chabad cult, as does Javier Milei, who is basically a member of it and I think is converting to Judaism and was recently honored by Chabad in Miami. But here's Trump and Howard Lutnick paying homage to Rabbi Schneerson during back in October. They're making a pilgrimage to Schneerson. I've never seen an American president do this. And this is like a cult-like figure. They believe he's the Messiah who will come.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that folks do watch Gray Zone. They do a Friday night show on YouTube because they are both Jewish. They grew up with this kind of propaganda and proselytizing through their, they talk about going to Jewish schools and things. And so they really, really know the in-depth part of what's happening. So that's an excellent clip from, talking about the Chabad cult, which I'd never heard of before. Of course, they're calling it a cult, right? That's but no, and just the level of infiltration into our government by the Zionists is, horrific, but they give you the super details over at the Gray Zone.
They've been doing great work for years. And Aaron Mate as well. He's got his own show. I just don't have time to watch all the great things. And he's Gabor Mate's son. So he's got right. I don't know if you know who that doctor is, but so not only did he go to that pilgrimage, he also on April 9th, he declared that whoever that guy, the rabbis.
Yeah. Lutnick?
A U.S. national holiday for his birthday.
No, this really?
Deep. This stuff is for real.
Oh my God.
And he's like, and it leads into something we're going to talk about in a little bit, but Trump has been in the need to freaking, Bibi.
Oh, of course.
For all you Republicans, if y'all is watching, he's bowing to this guy.
Yeah, I need to do better about following MAGA to see what their reaction is. But they were supposed to be, protectionist, anti-war. We are bombing Yemen for Israel. It's not even for our interests. The reason they're bombing Yemen is because they're blocking the shipments of bombs to Israel, because they, unlike any of the other Arab countries, they are out there fighting for Palestinians. They're the only country actually fighting for them. Yeah. And so we're bombing Yemen for Israel.
Yeah, and Bibi came here And he flew across all these airspaces that signed up saying for the warrant for his arrest, you know, the ICC warrant, and they allowed him to pass through their airspace.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of bullshit. So don't count. This is what I'm saying. It's up to us to make this change.
Right.
This happened on our watch. It is our fault. It is my generation's fault. It's the generation before and the generation before. Our kids are doing the best they can with the world that we are handing them, you know. But don't matter what age you are, you need to get out there and fight. And
Yes.
when I say fight, I mean protest, boycott, strike, post things on social media, just figure out get involved in your community, run for office, you know, figure out ways that you can push back. But yeah, Ariel, you want to play the second clip? This is who Chabad is.
The Chabad cult also helped Ivanka Trump convert to Orthodox Judaism in order to marry Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law. I think that's the case. And look at what Donald Trump just did. He declared a national day of education to honor the Rebbe, Menachem Schneerson. He just did this on April 9th. He signed it into law. Chabad cultists all around him.
Aaron Mate had the same reaction I did. Oh my God. Whoo.
So if you can go to 9:25, that's the part I really want people to see.
Okay.
I think you can pause. Well, no. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't know I could. So, can we go up to 9:25? Let's see. Oh, well, no, it's not going to allow me.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know, it's the fact that we're committing a genocide. I mean, we are doing it, people. We are. It's hard. You know, people want to try to separate it. Oh, the Democratic Party. We were, you know, when Biden was in office. No, we can't stop Netanyahu. We can stop him. We can stop him in one day.
One phone call.
Well, yeah. Or
And Jill said she'd call him.
We just stopped the bombs. I don't know the phone calls, but we stopped the bombs.
The phone call saying you're not getting anything anymore.
Yeah.
And here's why.
But they got to back that up by actually doing it.
Yeah. Go ahead and play it then, since we can't do the timestamp. So I really want people to hear this part.
This is like one of the stories the media isn't telling about the Trump administration, is how deeply penetrated it is by Chabad. And how weird and fascistic this cult is. Like, this is the cult responsible for the book Torat HaMelech, which was distributed within the Israeli military, which declares that the new way of fighting war, the new ethics for the Israeli military, should be based on religious law, which holds that if anyone is deemed a threat to the Jewish people, even as a child, they should be killed. And the book was actually unofficially banned by the Israeli General Security Services. I did a documentary on this, a short one. It's online. Because I went to an event where some of the chief state-funded rabbis in Israel got up and defended the book. And the two rabbis, one of them is named Yitzhak Ginsburg from the most extreme yeshiva in the Yitzhar settlement north of Nablus, were called in for Shin Bet interrogations. And they just basically said, we're not coming. And nothing happened. But they come from Chabad.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Israel has declared that Max Blumenthal is not allowed in their country. So he's been banned from Israel. And, you know, it's a badge of honor for him.
But, you know, if you're down with, you know, the Zionist cult, I'm going to call it that a cult as well. Because it's not based in religion. It's based on power.
Yeah.
And subjugation of other people. You can be someone that believes that and be born anywhere in the world, and you can automatically go live in Israel and get your own house and take it away from a Palestinian.
Right.
So cool, right?
Yeah. And, you know, remember, half of Zionism is Christians. So this is not just a Jewish
well,
issue.
and it's not the Christianity that I learned about.
Oh God, no.
It is a distortion And Chris Hedges talks about that in depth, many books on that subject, because he is an ordained pastor.
And you know,
it's a twisted vision of what they think the Armageddon's going to be.
Right. And Butch made a really good comment in a interview he did with the Thinking Muslim, and I recommend folks check out that YouTube page too. The guy's excellent. But he made a comment that, you know, Marx's famous quote about religion is the opiate of the masses. He says that quote is there because it's a Western construct, and Butch Ware is a very religious person, but that religion comes from a place of being oppressed, whereas our Christian upbringing, right, we come from a Western world that has been oppressing others. So our religion, you know, my experience with that is exactly the same. It's like when I was growing up, going to the church, and, you know, they were teaching in the Sunday school stuff, they're teaching Jesus stories. And we're like, wow, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. This guy's like, you know, radical leftist. At that time, I didn't understand radical leftist, but, you know, and then now as an adult to see the Christian institution and what a nightmare it is. And I was like, those two things have nothing to do with each other. But that's why it's within the Western tradition, we are the oppressors around the world. Yeah. And that's how it fits together.
And I have been rewatching The Handmaid's Tale. Highly recommended.
There you go.
It shows you what can happen if you let religion and government become one, which is what Israel is trying to do.
And what we are trying to do.
And if we keep this up, it'll happen here, and it'll be Christianity / whatever. I mean, it's not really Christianity. It's a power play. And if you've never watched that show, this is how they do it. They do it for excuses, and then when it comes down to it, it's all about power and subjugation. They want to control you.
Right.
But let's move on to the next one, the graphic. I think you brought this up, Scott, about.
Yeah. So it is Earth Day, April 22nd, everyone. And so we'll try to be pushing a lot of things on Earth Day on the Green Party websites, but maybe try to be positive, because unfortunately, you know, this is not. But this is the reality of climate catastrophe. And the other thing that I really wanted to do is just really try to promote Ben C on Twitter. It's at Climate Ben on Twitter. And because the thing about his posts is, you see he has the little thread there, because all of his posts are very long. They're all threads, because he goes into details about just the scientific stats that are out there about what's happening in climate. And this one is just about the decrease of ice in the
summer sea ice, the Arctic summer sea ice.
Yeah. So each year, and they have some photos too, but each year the graphic, you just see it's getting smaller and smaller, and folks, we're gonna lose Arctic and Antarctic with the loss of sea ice. And then again, he goes into real scientific detail about what the catastrophe like this is going to do to our world. And you know, they give statistics about at what year it's too late, and unfortunately that the scientists doing their analysis, that year is coming closer and closer. And so we have got to take action immediately. And again, the Republicans and the Democrats are not doing anything. They're saying different things. Republicans say climate denial. Democrats say climate change is real.
But do nothing about
do
it.
Anything.
Well,
Biden increased the drilling in America.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, is that they're still going to cater to their donors.
Well, and it's corporate capture,
right,
of our government. It didn't do. Yeah. I had to have my son come get a wasp that got inside the house. We don't kill them. We just take them and throw them back outside.
Oh, good for you. Oh, wow. Okay. You're brave.
Speaking of climate, like, you know, I know he didn't mean to be in here.
Yeah.
He or she was out the window, and I'm like, I'm very allergic. So gotta be careful. But yeah, it's the corporate capture of our government, because they're in extraction mode. They're going to extract money, resources. You know, they pick on the prison population, forced labor, like for people that still believe that we're free. We're not free.
And I think one of the other problems when it comes to the environmental protest movement is one of the really unfortunate things is that the corporate takeover of the environmental justice movement. So unfortunately, and that what the damage that did was to really turn off a lot of the left. So we have to really bring that back. We have to bring back environmental protesting, because if you think about it, in the 1970s, that was our main protest in the 70s, and we've got to bring that back because we are in the emergency.
And we actually, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and they are going to triple fracking the Permian Basin, Texas.
Right. I mean, it is.
But in the 70s, I remember they banned stuff that was harming the ozone, the fluorocarbons. I learned that as a kid.
Right.
And, because it worked, just like everything, and just like Nader, they figured out a way to stop it from working because, these CEOs and people that are rich in corporations, these oligarchs think that our lives don't matter and that they're going to be just fine. They consider us flyover country and we're just a resource. I remember having a conversation with one of my bosses at my job one time. I was talking about cutting down trees, and he's like, well, it's just, it's just supply. Like, it's just, a resource. And I'm like, no, it's the home to birds and animals and da-da-da-da-da. Well, they can go somewhere else. I'm like, why? I said, how about you give up your home and go somewhere else?
Right. Until there's nowhere else to go. That's the other issue. And they won't stop. And I love your fluorocarbon example because that's a great, again, it's like, it's amazing to think that we went against corporations
and won
to stop something, and it worked. They decreased the ozone layer. So that worked, actually. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent example. We wouldn't even dream of that today.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They are going to triple fracking Colorado too. And by the way, fracking creates earthquakes.
Yes.
And the solution that they put into your earth and your groundwater is proprietary.
Yeah. And thank you, Michelle, for those.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yes.
Thanks for being on here today.
Yes.
I would like to remind everybody that we are doing a 500 subscriber challenge. Hopefully by the end of the month. I think we got 3 or 4 just on Butch's hour that he was here.
Yeah.
Last I looked, we were at 444. I don't know where we're at now, so it's definitely doable. And this helps us get the word out about what we're doing. So please like, subscribe, share. If you like our content, just pick anything. Oh, I updated the number. What's the number, Ariel? What are we? 456. Look at that.
Yes.
We got 12 since. Oh, awesome.
And really, our goal is to get the Green Party as an entire country. We're going to have a lot of people who are running for office in the Green Party all throughout the U.S. And just to become a voice, we want to be in the space that Sabby Sabbs and Briahna Jerry Gray are, because we want to bring the Green Party perspective and for people to recognize that is the option, and instead of, well, just start any other party. No, the Green Party is the place to be. We are doing the work right now. To start a new party would be insane. Again, we have climate catastrophe. There's no time.
It's too hard. It's too late for that. We got to act now, and we have the structure. We have the ability to help candidates. What we need is fundraising and volunteers.
Yes.
If you want this thing to go, you got to volunteer and you got to fundraise.
Yes.
You got to donate.
I'm going to plug, if you're in Illinois, I'm going to plug our weekly Zoom that we do. Go to ilgp.org/events, and we have it there every Thursday. It's just a hangout on Zoom, 8 p.m. Central Time. And, that's a good way to come in. You don't have to be a Green Party member to be in it. Just come on in and hang out with us, because that's what we need. We need volunteers. We need fundraising. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think we're going to switch it to calling it like something like Meet the Greens, and come find out what we're working on in Illinois. I think you might be surprised.
Yeah.
We got a lot going on.
We do.
Scott and I don't play.
We're certainly giving it our best.
Yeah. We work on this stuff every single day. But
so
we'll move on. Trying to keep time here. I hope we get through everything. If we go a little long, it's fine. So number 6, gray zone. Israel pushes Trump to bomb Iran.
Yeah.
Ari, you want to start that?
Is finally pivoted to Asia in this term, and it's doing so at the very same moment that it is placing Iran in its crosshairs and failing. We can talk about it later. Failing in its negotiations to end the Ukraine proxy war.
Yeah,
Right?
right. And the thing is, bombing Yemen is really easy for the US because it's a very poor nation and dispensable in our sick mentality. Iran's another different. They have a massive missile capacity. Us taking on Iran, that would be a whole different ball game. But certainly, Netanyahu, that's his life goal. I think that is. I think there's a clip later on where we talk about all the wars that we've been in and how Israel has been at the center of what we've been doing, and Iran is their big prize. There's no doubt. So this is dangerous territory that we are in.
Oh, I'm checking out the comments. What's up, Paris? Paris is here.
Oh, Paris, hey.
Didn't the courts just rule it's illegal to protest environmental causes? I remember something about the pipe protest and a setback. Greenpeace. They sued Greenpeace for defamation, and they're trying to get $667 million out of them. Which
would obviously destroy them. And that's their point. And Greenpeace wasn't even that involved in that. I mean, they were there, but no, that's their new strategy is to use lawfare to destroy any organizations trying to do leftist work.
And Michelle's talking about, schoolyard playground fencing has been made of used fracking pipes. They resell hot equipment.
Oh my God.
So they're poisoning our kids. So now it's also radiation.
And Michelle, you're going to be running for office, right? Isn't that true? So we're going to have you come on and
yeah.
You're obviously an expert in this realm. So yes.
So I'm sure you know somebody that's been on the show, because I feel like I remember you knowing someone that we had.
Oh, I know Michelle. Yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
We're all good. I'm gonna write that down, Michelle. Yeah. We got to get you out of the show.
And we're going to have some stuff about Jeffrey Sachs later in the show.
Yes.
But Ariel, were you able to fast forward at all to find the next space or no? It's at 7:22 to 8:05 for the number 6. Israel pushes Trump to bomb Iran.
So Netanyahu's getting emboldened, and he wants war. He wants Trump to carry out the most important aspect of his agenda, which is war with Iran. I mean, that's what Netanyahu's entire career has been animated by, is his desire for regime change in Iran, for destroying the Iranian state, because it is the one force left in the region which is still sponsoring and supporting resistance against Zionism when the rest of the Arab states have totally capitulated. Most recently, Syria, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. Sorry that I preempted Max with that. But yeah, that is true. That is without a doubt Netanyahu's main goal. I mean, the goal, and we'll have Jeffrey Sachs talking about it later. It was to destroy all of the Middle Eastern countries in that area. That's the point of Israel's, ongoing destruction of lands, is that they just want to get all of those countries. They want to get Syria, and they got Syria.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They talk about it in that segment as well, and all of these are in our description of on the YouTube show. But because you gotta like think about it put yourself in their shoes, right? So the only reason we haven't attacked North Korea, for instance, is because they have nukes.
Yeah.
The only reason we haven't out and out went for Russia, they got nukes. So I would think, and I'm not for nuclear war, but didn't that happen in Syria? Once you give, or was it no? It was
no, that was Libya.
Libya.
Yes.
So they convinced Libya to disarm, and what did we do? We went in,
destroyed them,
and we took over the country, and we killed their leader. So
and North Korea knows that.
In Iran, I hope they know it.
Oh, yeah.
because this is what we want to do. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do it for Israel because every other Arab country so far is bending the knee to Benjamin Netanyahu. That is a genocider. And if he doesn't think that he's going to come for them, they're deluding themselves.
And the really scary thing is that, I mean, I think the most, it's a contest of what's the most scary. Israel has nuclear bombs. So that, I mean, they don't make it public, but everybody knows,
Everybody knows.
So it is extremely scary.
And if they're willing to do a genocide or modern day Holocaust, there are no rules. They'll do whatever it takes. They have lost their minds.
Yeah.
They have been taken over by cultists. And they, Aaron Mate's dad, Gavin Mate, had a really interesting conversation after October 7th. Like as a people, the Jewish people have never really dealt with the trauma of World War II. So if you know anything about human behavior, when you don't deal with trauma, you're doomed to repeat it. You become the thing that you fear and hate. And I really think this is what's happening to the Israeli people. They are perpetrating the thing that happened to them. They are so angry over what happened to their families and their relatives that they have just gone crazy.
Well, and unfortunately, it is the Netanyahu administration that has just upped it tremendously. I mean,
yeah. So if you don't think they'll use a nuke, you're kidding yourself.
Yeah.
So our next segment is called "The Constitution is Just a Piece of Paper."
Is
number
this
8?
Jeffrey Sachs? No, we have 7. Sachs.
Did
Jeffrey
I skip Jeffrey? Let's do
Yeah.
Jeffrey. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
And while
Sachs on
Ariel-
Israel's 6 wars.
Yeah. While Ariel's putting this up, I'm going to start a campaign. I'm not originating this, folks. I saw this on Twitter somewhere that someone said Jeffrey Sachs for Green Party presidential candidate 2028. And I'm going to start that campaign. I'm not starting it. I'm going to help do that campaign, because the thing about Jeffrey is that he's talked openly. He was going to vote for Jill. I don't know if he did. He's very aware of our situation and the necessity to have a third party, and that should be the Green Party. So I'm going to push that because I think he might. I could see him saying yes.
We'll start the pressure campaign.
Yes.
Go, Jeffrey, go.
Yeah.
And he's a very smart man, and you're about to see that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's important for us to understand where this entire war came from. It did not come from Bashar al-Assad. It came from Washington. There was a decision in 2011 to overthrow Assad. Actually, that came from Jerusalem. This has been a desire of the Israeli government that stretches back more than 25 years. Netanyahu's idea is make the Middle East in Israel's image, overthrow every government that opposes Israel. He's had a friend in that, and that is the CIA and the United States government. So this war in Syria did not come from Assad's repression. It did not come from Assad's dictatorship. This war came from a presidential order by Obama to overthrow Assad, starting in the spring of 2011. We have a name for this program. It was Operation Timber Sycamore. The United States, together with other countries in this region, trained fighters, especially jihadists, including the ones that just took power, to overthrow the regime. This created chaos. 600,000 dead in Syria in a war that has gone on for 14 years. The outcome of this war is what the CIA wanted back in 2011, which is that a jihad group would take power in Syria after being armed by the United States. The reason I want to be clear about this is that we will not have peace in this region until we have public diplomacy that is based on real diplomacy, not on CIA operations. and we will not have peace until Israel stops its militarization of the entire Middle East.
So Israel has basically almost taken over Syria. The CIA with Israel installed the ex-leader of ISIS to run the country. And he is, through a previous agreement, letting Israel just take it over. And, you know, I think Syria is just the worst example of the propaganda that can go on. Nobody says anything good about Assad, and I'm not going to say anything good about Assad, but the point was they set up all of the propaganda to make sure America hated Assad so that they could do this. And Aaron Mate, if you check out his work, he did extensive work on the Duma chemical attack. Now, that was the second one. He hasn't worked on the first one. He has proven that that was staged, and no one wants to hear about that in America, but that was staged. And there were 2 whistleblowers from the group that goes in, and I'm forgetting the organization's name, that goes in and looks at chemical weapon attacks. And they were ready to announce that, no, this was not a chemical weapons attack, and they were fired. And so Aaron Mate has presented to the UN numerous times about this issue. But again, that was part of the propaganda, because remember, that was Obama's red line, right? And that was all set up. Obama said he had a red line. Then there's a chemical weapons attack, which made no sense for Assad to do that. He was winning in that area. And again, when we say winning, what he was fighting were the ISIS terrorists, if I'm getting it right, because it might not have been as ISIS, but again, they were trying to attack the country, right? Who we funded through the CIA. We funded that. So that is the playbook that happens in all of these countries.
Iraq.
Right. We train.
I mean, for those that remember the lead up to the Iraq War, it was, you know, even though Colin Powell was Republican, at that time I kind of had respect for him. You know, I didn't know the whole story, but you know, you find out by example. So he sold the Iraq War by lying about the weapons of mass destruction. He was used by them willingly or unwillingly. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. He was smart enough to know better. And you know, that was George W. Bush's war. Didn't we kill like 1 million Iraqis? And we killed the family that was had a secular government. You know,
Assad was a secular government too. People don't realize that was a secular government that he had.
And our young men and women are still suffering from having to be there.
And now that the ex-ISIS leader runs that country, they just slaughtered Alawites. I mean, by the thousands, went in and just killed everyone in sight. So that's what our government helped promote, to put that in power now. So they can hate on Assad, but the reality is what's in there is horrific. We've got terrorists
they planned
running
this stuff
Syria
for years. And and you know, and there's the 9/11 thing was used to pass the Patriot Act. So whether they were in on it or not in on it doesn't really matter. You know, that happened on George W. Bush's watch. He had no reaction when he was told. He was sitting there reading My Pet Goat. I know I might be telling ancient history for some people, but maybe there's younger people watching. And their answer was, let's repress the American people. And let's make you, let's make you afraid to fly, like super surveillance. And now when you fly, they take your picture without your permission. Yeah. When you're checking in with security.
No, but again, I'm going to push Jeffrey Sachs for president, folks. Everybody, let's join in. Let's get him on the Green Party ticket, because he's the only one. I mean, again, we have to, hope that nothing happens to him, because he's the only really, really been in government for decades, and knows all of it and is saying all of it openly. And so
we need a combination. I think we need somebody that's younger and has the fire and has the activist background that, and the knowledge that comes from, like Butch, he studied history. He knows the alternative history that we didn't learn in school, the oppression and stuff that has happened around the world and in our country. And then we also need somebody that knows our country from the other side, that has the history, understands the wars, and like has been in government for a long time and gets that. So we kind of need a dynamic duo, if I can say that.
Yeah, but definitely. Jeffrey Sachs for president, folks. Green Party. 2028.
So we'll go to the Constitution is just a piece of paper. Number 8, sheer post, Julia Connolly from Common Dreams. We are in a full-blown constitutional crisis. It deepens as Bukele refuses to release Maryland resident. Yeah. Everyone is pretending, said immigration policy expert Aaron Reichlin-Melnick, as a video of Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele speaking in the Oval Office circulated on Monday. He said the senior fellow at the American Immigration Council was pretending that he is incapable of releasing Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland resident whom Trump administration expelled to El Salvador terrorism confinement center in March, while President Donald Trump continued to pretend he's unable to demand his release. You want to just go ahead and play the video for time? If you can find the video.
And I'm just going to add that, we think back, I can remember journalists being arrested for contempt of court for not revealing sources. So we're coming up to a situation here. Is the court going to arrest Trump government officials for contempt of court? Are they going to put them in jail? Right? I think that's what it's coming down to, because the court can say all kinds of strong language and people have opinions of, this strong language they've got. Until we arrest people, it's not going to.
Yeah, it's not going to do it. Go ahead and play it, Ariel.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to have suggested that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
But you can release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. We're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
They'd love to have a criminal, released into our
there's.
They would love to have a criminal. He's talking to the press.
Yeah, no. The language, right? Smuggle, terrorist. The guy's not a terrorist. It's not smuggling.
He's not been charged with anything.
Right. He had no due process in this country. So
no due process.
Right. And this is Trump's game. But again, I think the courts have got to stand up here. They've got to stand up and start putting a few folks in jail. I know they're not going to put Trump in jail, but there are government officials who are in charge of this situation. I think they need to throw them in jail.
Yeah,
we'll see if it happens.
And you realize those positions can be ran for as well.
Yeah.
Maybe if these judges aren't going to enforce their rulings, maybe we need new judges that will. And this leads to our second story, number 9, orders to self-deport sent to a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. This was shocker. Well, I don't know.
It started to happen. Today is Thursday, April 17th, 2025, and as of a few hours ago, we learned that an American doctor who lives in Connecticut, who was born in Pennsylvania, has received an official email from immigration telling her she needs to self-deport or essentially face the consequences. While this story is still developing, we know at this point that she has sought immigration, legal counsel, and carries around her passport at all times. But I need to use this as a PSA as well. If you receive an email from the Department of Homeland Security, even if you think it is spam, you need to lawyer up and check the origin of that email. I believe what we're going to see a lot of in this situation is if this continues and they keep emailing people under whatever reasoning they think they need to deport people, people will see that, identify it as spam, and just ignore it, thus allowing ICE to make arrests and things like that. So I would err on the side of caution. If you get an email and it appears to come from the Department of Homeland Security, even if it looks like spam, you need to contact the lawyer.
Yeah, great advice. And yeah, go ahead and bring up those comments again. That was
Yeah. From Paris. Yeah. Trump is a terrorist. Everything he says about someone is really about himself. That's narcissism 101.
Yes, it truly is. He does act as a terrorist. That is the methods by which they act.
Yeah. And then Kevan, welcome. The leader of all gangs was invited to the White House.
There you go.
And, Bibu, the genocide in chief. Genocider in chief.
Right. Who's more of a terrorist than him? I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we really? Maybe we should have like a competition.
Well, and the thing is that, that term terrorist, that our government is using that. So, and that goes back to Obama with his declarations that they are using that term because what that term allows, if they just declare somebody or organization as a terrorist, then all of the due process rights, habeas corpus rights, those all disappear. And it was Obama who got rid of habeas corpus. So, and I think it was Chris Hedges who sued for that, lost.
He did.
In the case. Yes. So again, folks, Democrats, Republicans.
If memory serves, that's been around since the year 1215, and it's part of the Magna Carta.
Oh, okay. Know your history. Wow.
Some parts, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm right. Somebody can check my memory. But I feel like I learned that in school.
Okay.
And what habeas corpus is, it means that you are able to be in court to face your accusers.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Which
It
literally
means in Latin, produce the body.
And am I going to forget who I saw the post about? But it was a really good comparison where, in the later part of World War II, Germany was setting up their concentration camps outside of their country. And on purpose so that it wouldn't be seen around. And we are doing that. That's what El Salvador is. I mean, we sold out. I mean, that country sold out to US years ago. And now we're using, a concentration camp space in El Salvador. And
that's what Guantanamo Bay was as well.
Right. And for years. And again,
what are we supposed to do with them?
Right. Obama promised to close it. Never did.
Due process.
Concentration
camp. See if they did anything wrong.
Right.
And then if they didn't, have a fair, charges and a trial, but no, they just torture people to death. And the Guantanamo Bay still exists as far as I know.
Right. And I remember a lot of stories where when the CIA, well, I don't know if it was CIA, but when they're out in other countries looking for folks to grab, a lot of people just grabbed people they didn't like. They reported on people that they didn't like, and they ended up at Guantanamo Bay and tortured at Guantanamo Bay.
And they are grabbing people and stealing people's stuff, reporters.
Yes.
In the UK and elsewhere.
Oh, terrible crackdowns.
So this is not just here, but it's especially here. But they're waiting until these people are out of the country so they can snatch them with no due process. And so now it's beginning here. So look out, y'all. Yeah. So the last story we have, we're taking it to, this is number 10, but we're taking it to 11.
Right. Exactly. Spinal Tap it. No, but actually, and I forgot to give credit to that last clip, and Ariel had the banner going with the clip, the Instagram clip.
Yeah. So I believe it's in our show notes though too.
Okay, great.
So we're trying to be good about that. But anything that you are not sure of, just go check the description on YouTube, and it's there. And they're telling U.S. citizens they need to leave. That's great. So last one is gray zone. ICE declares certain ideals illegal. So are we now in McCarthyism 2.0? We have the thought police?
Yes.
I mean, these books behind me have been writing about these things for decades.
So yeah, here's the graphic that was on the government website. They took it down when people just blew up. If it crosses the U.S. border illegally, it's our job to stop it. And that includes ideas. This is not fake, folks. this was not fake. They took it down pretty quick because
It's from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE.
yeah, ideas can't cross the border. Woo.
ICE.gov.
Yeah. So
I was disturbed when George W. Bush created the. So they say they're for small government. I call bullshit. He created Homeland Security.
Right.
We created ICE.
Right.
But your Social Security, your post office, da 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 da. Yeah. So we can play the video.
This cannot be illegal in a free. This is about an ICE post, but here's the ICE post, which was deleted. ICE.gov, and this was on X as well. If it crosses the U.S. border illegally, it's our job to stop it. People, money, products, ideas. What ideas are illegal?
Ideas. It seems like they were like a little bit. It seems like they were like a little bit maybe hesitant, a little bit uncomfortable saying ideas, because you notice how ideas is a little bit like faded out at the bottom. So they didn't want to go full throttle saying that we're trying to like stop ideas coming in, but they still wanted to get the message out. So it's like they're trying to sneak it in, but apparently they caught enough heat that they deleted it. But yeah, I agree. This is one of the most insane government posts I've ever seen. Ideas. Like this is just out of Orwell. They're not even hiding it.
Well, have you ever listened to Maggot Brain by Funkadelic?
Yeah, of course.
And at the end, George Clinton, you can hear him in concert chanting, think, it ain't illegal yet. That's what it reminded me of. Or the Zappa song, Who Are the Brain Police? It's like, we literally have a brain police, but they're supposed to enforce immigration. And they let the cat out of the bag.
Right.
Yeah. And I preempted Max again, but he gave those great rock references. So thank you.
Yeah,
funk references.
I did that for you, Scott.
Yes.
I know that's where your heart is.
I know. George Clinton.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like to read, and I read a lot of, post-apocalyptic dystopian things because it helps prepare my mind for what's possible. And Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood said, everything I put in the book has been done or is being done now. So everything you see and read has been done to people.
Yeah, and I do feel like we're apocalyptic right now because, not only are these horrific things happening in other countries, but, Trump has screwed up with the tariffs and stuff and made our economic system, on the verge of collapse. And the dollar is falling, and BRICS is here so that these countries that we've been abusing for decades and decades don't have to take our crap anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And so we are on the precipice, folks, and that's why we're trying to get people to get engaged. And we need action now. We need volunteers. We need people to get involved because the shit's getting serious. It really is.
Yeah, Ariel's saying something about the Mormons, the Latter-day Saints. I'm not sure what the reference is.
Oh, that it's a cult too. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people fall for cults. I mean, I have a friend that was part of what's the big one that the Dianetics guy, or what is it?
Scientology.
Thank you, Ariel. That they I mean, they're good at this, and I kind of think our news is becoming that, because they get you in with a hook and they make you start believing stuff that's not true.
Yeah.
And you always got to look at the money, who's paying them, and that's why Greens are different.
Yeah, Green Party's not a cult, folks. And in fact, it's kind of the opposite. And both Edie and my experience has been that is to me, the best thing about the Green Party is you get involved and then you make it what you want it to be, because it's very open-ended. Yes, they have their platforms, but it's in terms of the involvement and the things that you can do. We cover, as many topics as we can. We try to get people involved in any way. And yeah, it's not a top-down system at all. It really is not. Jill Stein does not run the Green Party.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, we just have. I mean, if you'd like to read policy, go check out the platform on
it's extensive.
GP.org. It's very extensive and very good. If you want the top line of what we're about, Jill nailed it with people, planet, and peace. That's like our three tenets, really. I mean, that's what we believe in. And if we're going a little further, we got our 4 pillars and our 10 key values.
And it's really important for folks to realize when they see a politician on TV or wherever, and just understand that how they got to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
They made this decision. They would do whatever their donors said. And that got them to win the election, right? Because right now it's just, unfortunately, we haven't broken the system that whatever spends most money wins. We can break that system if we vote for people other than who is being pushed at us.
We have to vote for people. We have to vote for people that will end Citizens United.
Right.
We have to, what was it Butch says? I'm going to get it wrong, but activists organize against something, against people or policy or something, but revolutionaries organize against systems.
I'm
right. Getting the first part right.
Yeah, but no, that's it. That's right. The Green Party organizes against the system that exists, right? And yes, within that we have all these topics that we cover, but it's the system we are trying to destroy in terms of we've got to get rid of who is up there. Every single politician you see, it doesn't matter if it's Cory Booker or Bernie Sanders or AOC, these people are corrupt as can be. They work for their donors. They don't work for people. They don't.
Yeah, actually the one that stands out, even though I don't agree with him on policy much, is Thomas Massey. He's a Republican, but he won't take AIPAC money.
And he really does buck the system. Now I got to find out. I'm sure people could put post things about not so great stuff he's done. I don't know. I haven't researched him, but certainly he doesn't follow the line where the Democrats are following the line, at least on the leadership.
Yeah. And it may be there, like the Democrats use the revolving villain,
yes.
with Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin.
Right.
If y'all have seen that Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman interview that they did after they were ousted, the Democrats allowed it, by the way. They were all in a room. They weren't supposed to leave. They had all the progressive caucus in a room, and Joe Biden was calling them and pressuring them. And Cori Bush was a no, because she was holding out. I think it was during Force the Vote. She was holding out to try to get something passed. Don't quote me on that part. But while they're, in this room where they're not supposed to leave, somebody had to go to the bathroom, I guess, or whatever. Joe Manchin is out there saying, I'm never going to vote for this thing. So what Biden was promising Cori Bush, he was lying to her.
Right. And the thing is, again, the Democrats promote the Joe Manchins, the Kristen Sinemas. They promote them. They make sure they are there so they can be the villains to vote against any progress.
The scapegoat for why they can't get stuff done, just like the parliamentarian.
Right.
That's why we don't have a $15 an hour minimum wage, because the parliamentarian said that's not allowed.
And
but
it was Kamala who could have broken that, and she refused to.
She didn't.
Refused.
I'm sorry. She sucks.
She's horrific. And
she couldn't even win her own state.
Like I said, it doesn't matter which candidate they decide to put up. That candidate is going to work for donors, which means death to people of color in other countries. It means more bombs. It means destruction. And we got to break the system, folks. So
we are in the belly of the beast. We're the ones that are causing harm around the world. It is up to us to make it stop. Nobody else can do it. We can't do it for you. Get involved. Scan that QR up there, or go to ilgp.org/donate and donate. Get involved. Volunteer. Let's do this thing, because we don't have time to wait. We don't have another 3.5 years.
No,
we don't know what's going to happen.
And like I said, each year the scientific reports come out. The year at which it's too late gets closer and closer to us. Some are saying 2030 as when we won't be able to save the earth. We have got to.
We're going to be in defense mode, Yeah, and who is going to suffer the most?
The poor, of course.
Poor, people of color, working class people, because the rich are going to be fine until they're the only ones left, and then I guess they'll duke it out. I don't know. But so taking it to 11. Please like, subscribe, and share. Try to help us get to 500 subscribers. We only got 44 to go. And support independent media. We got all the links in our description. And then our guest next week is going to be amazing. Jose Vega.
On Wednesday, actually.
On Wednesday.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Well, next week. I guess it starts Sunday.
Oh, you're right. Okay, sorry.
It's all one big long week to me, right?
Yeah. But Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central, we have Jose Vega. If you've never, you got to come and see him. He's amazing. He is really famous, mostly famous for going into like town halls and where politicians are and just calling them out until he gets removed from the place. And he's a tank, so it takes a lot to get him out of the room. And we're gonna have some of the videos. I mean, he's just a wonderful, wonderful person. He's run for office. He ran against the nightmare Zionist in Brooklyn, the Democrat. He didn't win. Rich Torres. What a nightmare that man is. Oh my God, unreal. I mean, that man works for Israel. That he is in that spot from the Bronx, working for, or was it Brooklyn? I'm sorry, I might have gotten that wrong. But he's there for Israel. And
it's the Bronx.
Bronx, okay.
And Ariel says that's his hometown.
Yes. So please check out Jose Vega. It's going to be a wonderful interview. We love him.
Mm-hmm. And I think we're good. Went a little bit over, but thank you all for sticking with us.
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Tune in on Wednesday, and we'll be back next Saturday with more amazing content. And we've got lots of great guests lined up. We're booked up through July.
Yeah. So, yes.
We got some biggies coming.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Jose on Wednesday. Gotta please be there. And thanks everyone for stopping in. I know it's hard on a Saturday morning, but yeah, thanks everyone. We really appreciate this. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Michelle. Yeah, and
thanks, Paris, for contributing.
Yeah, last thing, I'm getting ready to go to my local Hands Off rally. Just because the Democrats are behind it doesn't mean those voters can't be talked to, because they're ignoring Palestine, and a lot of people that are there probably don't know they're behind it. So if you get on to some email chain or whatever, click the donate. If it says act blue, run.
Run as fast as you can.
Like, nope, not doing it. So see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.
See ya. An uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising. Fight the power. It's an uprising.